Why is dating so hard when you're over 40? Why is dating so hard when you're over 40? Why is dating so hard when you're over 40? Okay, I asked this question in my Facebook group recently, and it was kind of interesting. Some of the smart-ass remarks I got, and I call them smart-ass, but many were saying, well, it's not hard when you're over 40, it's exciting when you're over 40, and it's fantastic when you're over 40. Well, I can tell you in the age demographic that I work with, many people complain about dating when you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. So I wanted to talk about that for a few minutes today and share my thoughts and feelings about it. Now, if we're really going to delve into the problem with dating, then I think we need to go a little step further and say, what's the real problem with relationships when you're over 40? And so a combination of what I'm going to share is both what's the problem in relationships and why we're having problems in the dating realm. And so the first one is weak skills at meeting, and also the weak skills at getting to know another human being. All right, weak skills. You know, it fascinates me as someone who's on a dating site or has been on dating sites, and to see the mediocrity of people putting themselves out there. Now, I mentioned dating sites is because for the over 40 category, nearly half of all new relationships are happening through an online connection. Now, that's not an absolute statistic. That's just an observation that I've seen over the years. But ask anyone who's in their 40s, 50s, or 60s who's in a relationship how they met, and I bet you half of them will say online. And so what did I just say? Mediocre attempts, mediocre effort. It shocks me how mediocre, how ambivalent, how pathetic people put themselves out there, both men and women. So I think one of the big problems is that they don't know how to really brand or present themselves is one of the problems out there. And in addition, when you actually have connected with a human being, if you actually get lucky enough to talk to someone, one of their weakest skills is actually knowing how to get to know another human being. It fascinates me because most people are walking, and this is a generalization, in an era of arrogance around what their needs are and not knowing how to communicate in such a way that you can get to know another human being. And for the ladies who follow me who think that they're stellar at this, I can tell you as a man who's been single and dating, you're not good at it. And the men are certainly not good at it, so both sexes are weak at it. So weak skills in meeting and getting to know someone. The second biggest problem I see is a lack of clear direction or understanding the purpose of a relationship. I mean, I know this sounds ridiculous, but it's so true. Either no direction on how to create a relationship or really a lack of understanding the purpose of a relationship. And I'll illustrate this point in a moment because it's funny. I've coached women who have called me about their relationship with a guy. They've been together 6 months, a year, 2 years, or whatever. And they go, Jonathan, I want more commitment from my relationship. I go, really great. What does that look like? Well, I just want more commitment from the relationship. I'm like, great. What does that look like? But Jonathan, I just want more commitment. What does that look like? It's interesting because I say, look, if you can't tell me what that looks like, how can your boyfriend know what it looks like? And I think one of the biggest challenges today, and I certainly see this and observe this, is most people don't know what a healthy relationship looks like and what the real purpose of being in a relationship together. Now, I'm not sit here to judge what person choices over another. I see most relationships today are casual and transactional, and not building deeper connection for teamwork and partnership. Because from the world I live in, I want to promote teamwork and partnership is the reason to be in a relationship with someone. That it actually has a destination, that they're working towards something. And whether you've been together 3 months, 6 months, or a year, if you're not working towards something, then you're just in a transactional or casual relationship. And that's not something I support or promote. So without clear direction and knowing the purpose, and by the way, these are both people having an awareness around direction and purpose. Without both people being able to meet there, you're going to have problems in the dating realm right from the get-go, because it starts from the very beginning. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. And lastly, I think this by far is the biggest problem with dating and relationships today, is a genuine lack of individual self-love and a lack of emotional maturity. Boom, there, I said it, a lack of emotional maturity. And I know the women are watching this go, yes, men are so immature. And I can tell you, ladies, it is equal for both sides of the aisle, of the gender aisle. Whether it's a penis or vagina, both men and women are struggling from internal self-love and a sense of emotional maturity to be in relationship. Just because one can express their emotions doesn't mean that they're mature at expressing their emotions. Men often get labeled as emotionally unavailable, and women are more expressive with their emotions, but that doesn't make two people mature if someone is unavailable or someone is capable of expressing their emotions. Maturity is knowing how to communicate in such a way that you're seen, heard, and understood, and maturity is about listening in such a way that you can see, hear, and understand. And this is the disconnect from what I see in the dating and relationship realm for those of us in our 40s. I don't want to talk about the 20s or 30s, it's a whole different ballgame, but certainly the 40s, 50s, or 60s. Wow, I said a mouthful. Okay, weak skills at learning, knowing how to meet someone and how to really get to know someone, a clear direction or understanding the purpose of being a relationship, and lastly, individual self-love and emotional maturity. Because if I really bring this back to the point I'd like to make, because this really brings it to self-love. When an individual is solid in their sovereignty, they're solid in their I, they're solid in all these places, that they care about themselves so much, not in a narcissistic way, but in a healthy, conscious way. They're aware of their insecurities, they're aware of their problems, they're aware of who they are. Ultimately, all these other things will fall into place. You'll be able to, you won't have weak skills at meeting, and you won't have weakness at getting to know someone, and you'll have clear direction, and you'll understand the purpose, and you'll speak from a place of emotional maturity. This all centers into self-love, is the antidote to solving the problem for dating and relationships. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. This is about your individuality, your self-reliance, your self-confidence, your self-worth. It all encompasses self-love. And I could go on and on teaching about self-love, but that's not what this video is about. All right, I shared a lot today. I'd love to hear your comments. Please post something below. And if you find value in what I share, I invite you to learn more about what I do, both as a speaker, author, and sometimes coach. I'd like to consider myself a modern day philosopher focused on midlife love and human pair bonding. That was a mouthful. And if you'd like to learn more, just click and subscribe, and I'd be happy to have you join my group. As always, I want to send everyone off with a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug, if I have your consent, and wishing you a super duper wonderful day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.